Gilmac, could you introduce yourself for us, please?
Sure. So Gilmac Gilmac was born in flames on a fiery night during an attack on his village. The villagers were able to fend off the attack, suffering only a few lost souls. Not wanting to leave the area where they lived, his community had to rebuild the village. Being raised in an upcoming village, Gilmac grew up hearing of tales of devastation he was born in. It angered him, and he adapted the mindset of protecting those he loved. At birth, he was blessed with the ability to shapeshift to harness the power of fire. These abilities were not known until the age of 8. He would randomly set small fires when he was angry and shapeshift into familiar animals when he would try to imagine what it would like to be one. The form would not last long because it scared him at such a young age. His family and community started to understand he had druidic powers and called upon another druid to help him learn to harness his powers. He quickly learned to control what to transform himself into. He also learned he could harness the power of all the elements. At the age of 20, all of his immediate family had died. Already understanding that he had learned the way of the druid, he set out on his own to explore the world and its many wonders. Eventually, he would return to his village and share his stories of adventure. He has a burning passion to protect those whom he is close to and rid the world of evil.
Great job. You gain inspiration. Game Night, could you introduce your character, please?
All right. My character's name is Nicholas McCain. He was born amongst the gutter trash in the city of Blue Harbor. Um, Judging from he never knew his parents, and frankly enough, he realized pretty very quickly that he would never know and should not look for them. He could learn nothing. He could earn nothing but trouble from finding out what exactly they did that had led him to be abandoned. He learned very early on that he would need to keep his wits about him in order to survive, and since he lacked the ruthless charisma of a merchant or the strength to simply turn to crime, he uh, he was forced to uh, take on a very particular mindset about how he was going to advance in the world. So, lacking in both brute strength and charisma, he decided to train his intelligence. He worked relentlessly for much of his young life, serving first as a page to one of the larger merchant guilds, and then later on in his life as an ambassador between the merchant guild and a dwarf clan, which they had taken on as suppliers. In doing so, he realized that the best use of his talents would be to attain self-sufficiency, like the dwarves of that clan. And so he endeavored to learn the ways that their ways of craftsmanship. And in doing so, he realized that he could only ever learn so much in one area. And so after he had been accepted and granted the skills he desired, he set out in order to advance in the world, in order to feed his ambition. That would be
Great
all.
introduction. Henrik, could you introduce your character for us, please? Game Night, you gain inspiration.
Standing beside Gilmac is a human wearing tight-fitting splint mail and a polished sallet helm, holding the reins of an oak courser. He carries a long spear rested against his shoulder. Its ashwood haft is too thick to have been designed with foot combat in mind, and the heavy triangular spearhead is unusual in design. Hanging from the courser's saddle is an unpainted and worn wooden shield, pale with sun damage and covered with marks and scratches. Remishton is not especially tall or handsome, but under the helm's visor is an intelligent face with arched, cunning eyebrows. "Hey, Gilmac! Come meet some merchants and well-doers with me. Perhaps you'd be more eager to flee this god's-forsaken place if you had a personal stake in the matter, like some coin paid by a noble to protect his entourage, perhaps. What do you think?" That concludes my introduction.
Great introduction. You gain inspiration. Landfed, could you introduce your character, please?
Mortimer, as a child, he never liked people. He enjoyed his books, kept to himself, and his parents were menial laborers working all day and sleeping all night. But he stayed out of trouble, so they saw the small cost of candles for him to read by as a well worth investment. When a traveling sage made his way through town, he recognized something in young Morty and offered to take him to the big city, where he would be his apprentice and potentially join the Scribes Guild. Morty learned much from the sage, and as soon as he was old enough, he joined the guild and began transcribing everything asked of him during the day, and then devouring every book he could lay his hands on during the night. Eventually, he came to realize that there was one subject that seemed to be eluding his studies: death. There were many religious texts that made vague mentions of the afterlife, and he knew all the stories and legends, several texts as to proper handling of corpses, but every path he followed stopped just short of the same point, as if someone or someones were purposely guarding that knowledge. His interest turned to an obsession and then into a mission to uncover these secrets and who was responsible. His studies took him into some dark locations, asking some interesting questions. Morty figured it was time to move his research somewhere else after some unknown assailants tossed his room and then followed him in an attempt to ambush him in the mausoleum where he kept his research notes.
Great introduction. You gain inspiration. Meme Pun, could you introduce your character, please?
Yeah. Tobias Marianus Lazar was born and raised in the city of Twyrif. He knows its walls and alleys better than most people know the back of their hand. And being from a modest but honest family, Tobias knows what a life in abject financial purgatory is, and he rejects it. He abhors scraping by and detests the struggle. As a child, he found himself stewing and ruminating on the source of his life's mediocrity. He'd stare out the window, watching the hustle and bustle of the market stalls and traveling merchants below, getting lost in the wonder of the sheer amount of coin that passed through the hands of those below. One day he found himself at his windowsill, contemplating his usual financial conundrum when he saw it. A thief snatching away a golden jewel-encrusted vase away from an antiques trader. He saw the larcenist slip behind the merchant, grab the vase, and walk away like nothing happened. That's when it clicked for Tobias. Pickpocketing and general skullduggery called to him as one would expect God to welcome them in the afterlife. It was a call so porcelain white and radiant that another path in life didn't seem the least bit possible. He saw the dense velour for what it was. A performance so spectacular that those talented few who risked their lives doing something extraordinary would go down in history as icons. And so he concocted himself a dramatis persona, one that would draw attention and recognition from all who witnessed it. He created the character of the Blue Heart, a seemingly Robin Hood-esque figure who stole from the rich and sold to those who were buying. Unfortunately for him, one evening he made the unwise decision to target a particular nobleman. That noble just so happened to be the captain of the Twyrif Guard, a man who went by the name of Royce. From that moment on, the two had a sort of cat-and-mouse game that they played with one another, and Tobias loved it. The thrill of being chased by someone nearly as talented as him, the excitement when Royce almost caught him. It builds on the performance and growing legend of the Blue Heart in ways that Tobias could have only ever imagined. More recently, though, Royce has been boring, approaching the Blue Heart for information in a respectful, borderline transactional manner. While Tobias found this to be boring at first, he now sees this as an incredible opportunity to do something truly special with his performance.
Alright, great introduction. You gain a point of inspiration. Now I am going to read the adventure hook in just a minute, and then we'll jump into the adventure. In the prelude to this adventure, you returned triumphant to the city of Twyrif. You successfully rescued a patrol of Republican soldiers from the clutches of a high elf necromancer named Ripley. You discovered that the rescued soldiers had parasites burst from their chest. In the last few days, strange beasts have terrorized the city. An elite party of level 6 adventurers were killed attempting to investigate. Outlying farms have been attacked, and townsfolk have been abducted from within the city. Yesterday, the Lord of Twyrif's manor was brutally attacked, and no bodies or soldiers were recovered. The town is on edge, and the city watch is stretched thin. You start this new day in the town center. It's on you.
So, assuming that we meet, maybe we've arranged to meet at the tavern. I think that, if I recall, Gilmac was trying to figure out a reason why he'd even want to go with the group, and so I'm going to approach him. And as I said in my intro, "Hey Gilmac, come meet some merchants and well-doers with me. Perhaps you'd be more eager to flee this god's forsaken place if you had a personal stake in the matter, like some coin paid by a noble to protect his entourage."
Well, I mean, I'm torn in what I would like to do. On one hand, staying could prove to be deadly. However, I don't see a way. I don't see running as a way of a solution to this problem. I fear eventually we're going to have to face this thing head on.
Maybe you're right, but I'd rather face it with those paladins that are coming beside us. They're surely qualified for this. And what should happen if that caravan of so many innocent folk leaving is attacked by those creatures or perhaps bandits? Wouldn't it be better if we were along with them for their safety?
I'm sure it would. I won't make this decision alone, but like I said, we can go talk to them and see what's going on, and I want to get a sense of what they're feeling.
Sounds like a plan to me. So I think we're going to set off to wherever some rich merchants or nobility, or some people who might be in need of protection on the journey, could be found.
All right. Excuse me, GM. Just a note, my token isn't on the board. It's not that I can't see. I can still see the map, but my token isn't on the board. Just wanted to say that. I'll agree with Rashmitten here. No point in exploring. There's no point in not exploring every open avenue, every avenue available to us. It would be foolish not to. As they say, hope for the best, but plan for the worst.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nicholas. I'm glad to have you with us. For a minute, I thought that your revelry last night had kept you from getting up in time to join us on our quest.
No. Such, I could hardly call myself a proper craftsman if I wasn't able to rise with the sun. My teacher would have my sigil if I had ever failed so enormously in my work.
Okay.
All right. So I think, Austin, where would we find like merchants or nobility?
Well, it depends on where you would go in town, but looking around the town square and going down the main street, you would see some, rather affluent nobles and aristocrats kind of packing up their things, putting them in wagons, preparing to go. At least some of their servants, while they kind of looked very, very important as they supervised everyone doing the real work.
Okay. Those folks there look like just the marks we're looking for, and I'm going to approach.
Okay.
I'm going to look for somebody who looks capable. Ah, perfect.
You find a noble and a few workers beside a 2-level wagon, and there are some horses getting strapped to the front of the wagon. They're not really paying attention to you right now. They're just busy doing their work. It's on you.
Hello, good sir. My lord? What? Packing up so soon?
Yes. Preparing to leave the city, and I recommend you do the same. And he just goes back to directing the workers.
Say, my companions and I are looking for a job. We're, quite capable in terms of our ability to handle ourselves in a fight, and keep those who pay us from danger. You wouldn't be interested in some extra protection on the journey now, would you?
I myself have a few guards already hired to protect me, but I think you should talk to the Merchants Guild. There might be other affluent people, other men of means and position that would hire a party of fledgling adventurers like yourselves, but I myself am satisfied.
Why, thank you, my lord. You are most gracious indeed. Have a good day. I'm going to turn around to walk away.
Okay.
Remishton, do we know if there is a consensus among the town and where everybody will be heading?
I think they're heading south along the road we came from, but I could be wrong. To be honest, I'm afraid I've had a bit much to drink in the past few days, and I can't remember what I've been told by the townsfolk.
Yeah, okay. Let's the next people we talk to, let's find out if they know.
That would be a most prudent course of action.
And I think also if Mortimer or Tobias would like to join at any point, you can just announce your characters and say that you're like approaching us so that we see you somewhere. Otherwise, we're going to continue questioning the townsfolk.
Yep.
So I guess we're going to approach the Merchants Guild Hall.
Yes. But before that, I want to give an opportunity. Party leader, please discuss with others on what the party's goals are, and let me know when you're ready. Also, party navigator, please discuss with others when you're ready to move the party. So you're the one that's supposed to tell us, where we're going. You have the power to do that. You can certainly delegate it if you wish.
Do the others of you
Excellent.
have a problem with talking to the merchants? I'll take that as a no. Looks like we're still going to the Merchants Guild Hall.
All right, yeah, let's head down to the Merchants Guild Hall for sure. It's at number 9 on the map, yeah?
Yes. So, you guys go southward to the Merchants Guild Hall number 9. And there you see the hustle and bustle of many workers preparing 5 or 6 wagons, heavy wagons, that are usually loaded with supplies and crates, but are instead being outfitted with seats to be loaded with people. There are quite a few workers and servants walking about, preparing the wagons, preparing foodstuffs, fresh water. You see quite a few merchants preparing their separate individual carts for transport as well, followed by a few homeless farmers that have been displaced by these strange beasts. They are kind of waiting in the shadows of the building, resting. What do you do?
I'm going to point to the farmers and say, perhaps we'd like to talk to them after we've finished finding work.
Dude.
So I'm going to approach the wealthiest looking merchant in the group. Hello! It seems you're almost ready to leave. You wouldn't perchance happen to need some extra protection on the road now, would you?
And he turns to you and he's thinking carefully. He's going to do a little insight check on you.
I promise we're not bandits or anything like that. Simply a craftsman of the trade of arms, looking for work.
You do, you you do seem quite capable. I can sense that there is some martial prowess, and I believe a few of you are spellcasters. Yes, you'd be very appreciated to come with us. I recommend you talk with either Samwise. He's a merchant in the uh, working as a working in his general store. Everyone knows him. The leader of the caravan will be a hill dwarf by the name of Valdan, but he's very busy right now, organizing the caravan, loading up all the supplies, getting a head count. So you can talk to him a little bit later in the day. He'll be going to the tavern to grab a drink. The tavern is named the Double Down Inn and Tavern.
Fantastic. I appreciate your help, and I hope that the packing goes well. Perhaps I'll see you soon on the road.
Thank you very much. And if you ever need, some potions, go down to my potion shop. It is Adrian's Famous Potions.
Fantastic. I'll sure to be dropping by next time I need a potion. And as we turn away, I'm going to ask the other two, would you like to approach those other merchants before we leave?
Yeah, absolutely.
You mean the displaced? Yes.
You can do the talking. I'm going to be over here taking a drink from my water skin.
All right. So Nicholas will approach the group of displaced farmers. Not really anything morality based. He's trying to find out if any of them are like he's trying to run a quick investigation, just like running across their faces. They're trying to like watching their demeanor. If any of them seem more afraid than the others, so that if he would be able to find out if any of them have actually had any encounters with these strange creatures, whether or not they were targeted or whether they saw something, heard something, and just decided to run.
Okay. Which skill check would you like to use?
Investigation. I'm not talking to them just yet, just looking.
Okay, roll me investigation.
Right.
Looking at the farmers from a distance, you can tell that some of them have, clothes that are more dirty, soiled. They haven't, they're not as wealthy. They haven't had a chance to take a shower, and they don't have as, the backpacks are going. You can see that they're quite smaller. Others they have a bigger backpack. Others have pitchforks, and maybe they have a mastiff or a shepherd dog that they took from their farmstead. Is there a particular physical trait that you would like to pinpoint?
I'm looking for holes in clothes that might have been burnt by acid, or like if they were running and got attacked and maybe got out, maybe somehow managed to get out of a larger group. I'd be looking for rips and tears in the clothing that they haven't had a chance to mend.
Some of them have rips and tears in their clothing. None of them have acid burns on their clothes.
So, no survivors is what I'm looking at. Any of them if any of these beasts attacked, no one got away. At least not amongst this group of people. All right, that's all I really wanted to know. I'm not the actor here. I'm not the best socialite, so I'll let Dilmac take center stage.
Okay. I want to approach the displaced farmers, and I want to try to just grab anybody's attention and say, "Hey, you there?"
And you see a farmer who's kind of just resting in the shade, his his index finger and his thumb in the bridge of his nose. He's just kind of massaging it. He's obviously very, very distressed and, very frustrated, quite worried for the future. And as he said that, he kind of lifts his head up and he opens his eyes. He looks at you. Yes?
Tell me, how did you manage to escape the attack on your farm?
Oh, well, my farm wasn't attacked, but my neighbor was brutally murdered, blood everywhere. Um, the door was burst open from the outside. It was the middle of the night. I wasn't there, but I saw it when I went by the farm the next day, and there was quite a bit of blood. There was these dirt marks, these drag marks, as if a body had been taken out of the farm, and I knew then that I needed to get out. I grabbed my backpack, packed it full of food, a few water skins, grabbed my coin pouch, and I headed to town to try to get people to deal with this. Why doesn't the city guard just go over there and just destroy the creatures? Why don't adventurers like yourself destroy it?
Well, it's really unfortunate for your neighbor, and I'm glad you made it away. I believe we may have even investigated that farm the morning after we heard of this attack. So, we really didn't find much in any way of evidence to figure out what's going on here. However, we are here now to see if anybody would like, who's leaving the city of Twyrif, if they would need any protection along the way for wherever they're going.
I mean, I would certainly appreciate some protection. The evacuation caravan, is scheduled to leave in about 5 days. But I don't have any money with me. I can give you some food from my farm, but it's outside of town, and it can be dangerous. I'd rather not go there and get it.
Understood. I'm actually kind of curious if there's any information that you may have heard, whether it be fact or rumor, about anything that happened, anything that was seen, any evidence that maybe could help us to figure out what it was exactly that attacked.
Well, yeah, roll me 1d20. I wish I could help you, Mr. What's your name? My name is Brandon.
Hi, Brandon. I apologize. My name is Gilmac.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you, Gilmac. I'm afraid I can't remember any right now. I'm pretty tired. But I do recall hearing something. There was a lot of rumors being exchanged in the Double Down Tavern. I grabbed an ale back there yesterday when I was first came into town. I think you could get some rumors there. As for getting hired, gosh, all the aristocrats, they all have their personal guards. So I wouldn't know who to go to. The merchants have always been helpful.
Well, in response to what you said about, why don't people try to deal with this, it's definitely being considered, at least by myself. Perhaps maybe we can deal with this threat before you guys all leave. So we're going to go. I'm sure we're going to go and we're going to speak to somebody at the tavern. Maybe we can get some more details and prevent the fleeing, and we can all stay. We'll see.
Well, thank you. I would appreciate that. He kind of goes back and he slumps back down on his seat, trying to get some sleep.
Learn anything interesting?
I didn't really learn a whole lot, to be honest. I know that there's a caravan planning to leave in about 5 days. And this gentleman over here, Brandon, I believe his name was, advised us to probably go to the tavern if we wanted to learn more information.
Well, I'll be there this evening. In the meantime, I think we should go visit Samwise. He's a friend of mine. Yours too, perhaps, Gilmac.
I do remember Samwise.
Would you like me to go in by myself, or would you like to come in with me, you two?
Nah, I think we should go speak.
No reason for me to stay behind. However, I'd like to point out another course of action. We were informed of rumors that the Thieves Guild was the first on scene after the unfortunate raid on the Lord's Manor, and they were selling out their services to anyone who had the coin to pay for it. I don't believe it is all that unlikely that instead of getting them to, risk their lives for us, we could simply buy the information that they know off of them for a few coins.
You could do that if you want. Knowing's only half the battle, though, and I feel like it wouldn't really get me much to get a physical description of the creature. I imagine I'll be seeing them soon enough anyway. We're staying here for 5 days. That's a dangerous amount of time in these parts.
Indeed, indeed. But
I'll come
forewarned
with you,
is
though, if you'd like
forearmed.
to.
All right.
Let's go talk to Samwise first. But afterwards, if you'd like, I'll come with you to talk to the Thieves Guilds. Or, I'm sorry, was it Thieves Guilds or something else?
Thieves Guilds, yes.
Indeed.
Much obliged. And I'll allow the Breshmaken to lead the way.
All right, party navigator, where do you want to go?
To Samwise's shop. Oh wait, I think the party navigator. Oh yeah. Is that Gilmac?
Yeah, I don't. Where did they say we were gonna find Samwise?
They said he owned a general store, and that's where you'd find him.
Yeah, I think we should go try to talk to Samwise, wherever he may be.
Indeed.
If any of y'all have a passive perception above like a 5, you're able to see me kind of walking a safe distance behind the party. But this is a person in like a blue cape and a porcelain mask, so it's not inconspicuous in the slightest.
I'm gonna say to the guy next to me, hey, I think it might be an interesting person following us. Perhaps they're keen on asking us questions. Perhaps some traveling noble.
Okay, you arrive, in this part of town, walking around, and you see that the grocery store, Sam's general store, is kind of a bit to the north. You can move there when you're ready.
All right. As we're walking forward, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop and turn around and wave at the man in the mask and say, "What ho, friend! You should come join us. You'll find I'm very friendly."
Tobias is going to wave back very ecstatically. Be like, "Hi, I was eavesdropping on your conversation when I heard you were helping people to leave, or to stop them from leaving. I don't want people to leave, so I should help you."
Now, how long have you been around these parts? If you don't want people to leave, don't you know what's going on, man?
Yeah, I know what's going on, but if people aren't here to witness the greatest performance of mankind, then was it ever really a performance at all?
And I thought that circuses and performers like to travel on the road. Traveling performers is the expression I've always heard. They're,
I prefer a captive audience.
well, they'll be quite captive if they're stuck in the middle of the wilds with none but you. Don't you think?
He makes a
Perhaps.
valid point.
Furthermore, I've been hanging out in the taverns of these parts and hearing the stories. Many folks have been ripped apart at this point. 11 guards were killed by a single one of these monsters. These are not things that one would lightly encounter, I'm afraid. If I can at all avoid running into them in the dead of night, I'd rather do so. But I digress. What's your name, good sir? Wait, you just told me. Forgive me.
Yeah, you.
I'm Remishton.
Tobias.
Nice to meet you.
He's gonna take off the
Tobias.
mask, and you see kind of like a scarred up, just regular dude. If he wasn't wearing the mask, it would be the most inconspicuous dude minus the scarring you've ever seen.
And the blue cape.
Yeah, yeah, and the blue cape minus the costume. Just a regular looking guy.
These are my companions, Gilmac and Nicholas. They are capable magicians and warriors. What might be your talents? Singing, perhaps?
I'm an orator of sorts. I speak well. I'm eloquent. Prose. Yeah, it's a good
Ah,
time.
that should
I
come in
see.
handy. Particularly should we have to confront authorities. You see, I have a bad reputation among some authorities. Not in these parts, fortunately, but perhaps you could do us a great service should such a time arise where we need to talk to important folks.
I am a wanted criminal, but yeah, I'll talk to the cops.
Ah,
And,
well,
and
how
it,
convenient.
it occurs to me that I didn't give Mortimer and Tobias a chance to join the party. I assumed that you were already in the party. Could you describe how you guys, each of you, joined the party? Starting with maybe
Oh,
Tobias.
I was actually waiting for them to head towards the city center again, but since they're not headed that way,
Yeah, I think the way that that we just went about it is a perfect way for me to become introduced to the party. Social butterfly just running up to random people that he doesn't know.
Yes.
well, I guess since
Perhaps
we're headed to the grocer, you're probably going to run across Mortimer digging through some of yesterday's refuse for some food or any other leftovers.
what does Mortimer look like?
Taller, lanky man, pale skin. Definitely, his robes definitely have seen better days, but they used to be of a higher quality when upkept. And he carries a shovel on his back.
All right. As we're passing by, I'm not gonna I'll pass quite close to him and say, robes like that, digging in the garbage. What are you, a homeless cleric?
Uh, um, I was a scribe in a previous life. Some people took
Ah,
too close a notice of things that I guess I shouldn't have been asking about, so I've found myself picking up after others.
I'm going to reach into my pouch and pull out a loaf of bread, one of my rations, and toss it to him. The loaf of bread is hard as rock when you receive it, but it will likely still provide nourishment. Well, I am quite illiterate myself. Although I speak quite fluently, I'm incapable of reading. Perhaps you could join us.
Is that true? Are you not? Do you need reading lessons? Because I could help you. I can read, if you want to be able to read.
Perhaps if we spend a long time during a journey together, but I'm afraid we don't have time for that at the moment. I have more pressing things in mind. I'm a martial man, you see.
Yeah, I could see that.
So yeah, Mortimer will take the loaf of bread, but so do you plan on me being a tutor for you in exchange for a loaf
Not.
of bread?
No such thing. As you see, I've kindly declined my other companion's offer as well. We're merely, well, traveling these dangerous parts, I find that having as many friendly folks among me as possible is quite helpful. And, perhaps you could watch my back and bonk a bad guy with a shovel if he tried to sneak up on me.
Yeah, not much one for bonking, but I can hold my own.
You can hold
And
your own.
um,
That is good to hear.
Mort will just start chewing on the loaf of bread as it's very chewy.
Furthermore, I find that in recent times the people who travel with me have very good fortune in a monetary sense. We have made well over 300 gold pieces in our recent exploits. If that sounds attractive, and you're not afraid of dying, you should join us.
At this point, Nicholas will butt in just a bit. He'll ask, "Yeah, you said your name was Mortimer, and you were a scribe."
Mortimer D. Cormac at your service.
Yes. I would, even if you have no interest in joining us per se as a combatant, I would have use for someone of your particular skill set as even outside of the realm of combat. Um, how proficient would you say you were at? I'm not too sure. At taking research notes.
At the mention of research, Mortimer will puff up a little bit. Well, I am the greatest scribe that's ever scribed, and I have read many a books. So, what are you looking
Perfection.
to investigate or
See,
inquire on?
I'm not too sure you've heard. Although it would be very difficult for you not to have heard. Recently, the town has come under assault by a strange sort of creatures, which we believe to be under the control of a mad woman who we recently encountered. Um, Needless to say, it has been, ever since her first escape, it has been very difficult to track her down. And in an, we've been pulling our hair out in search of a way to pin down her location or exactly what she hopes to attain with this strange pattern of kidnappings and killings. We would be much obliged of your help if you are as good as you claim in the world of research.
Well, I'm not exactly the best sort to help you track down women, but these creatures do intrigue me. I have not heard any of this. What are these creatures?
We don't rightly know exactly what they are. They are, however, extremely dangerous. And if you don't know, then now might be a good. You might have to join us anyway. It seems to be the best choice of action would be to leave the general vicinity. She seems to be focusing her attacks here, and it might be better to get out of dodge, as they say.
Yes, I should input. I've heard that just one of these creatures killed 11 guards upon its hatching. You see, they burst out of the stomachs of men unexpectedly. Men who have been infected with a parasite, I guess, which grows inside of them before killing them and exploding to attack anyone nearby. Many folks from the town are leaving in 5 days. We intend to join them, or I do at least. Sticking with us might be our safest course of option.
Well, yes, this sounds very interesting, and you say that the individuals are infested with a parasite, so there's time to investigate them in the process prior to death. Imminent
Indeed, if
death?
you were to know.
This intrigues me greatly, so I will lend my services to your ragtag team.
Fantastic. Now, we were just about to, or I was going to at least talk to Samwise with my companions joining me. You're quite welcome to come along.
Mortimer and Tobias, you guys both gained an inspiration. Great introduction, everyone. And everyone's going to get 400 experience points. You can go ahead and add that to your character when you're ready. Go ahead and move your character to the north, to the grocery store, the general store. And let me go ahead and describe it for you. You approach a lush and vibrant vegetable and fruit stand with a rainbow of fresh produce. The building is a refurbished residential house that has been upgraded with white cobblestone walls and crystal clear windows. You spot a small mailbox for delivering messages. The entrance has a sign that reads, Sam's Incredible General Store. The air smells like pears and limes. Now, if you want to talk, party actor, please discuss with others on what the plan is for a potential social encounter. Once we start, there will be no time for careful planning. Let me know when you're ready.
All right, y'all. What are we thinking? What's the tactic here?
He's my friend. I happen to be on good terms with him because I've offered to offer my services at a cheaper rate than what we were paid last time, as an apology for what he had to undergo last time. You see, me and Gilmac and two others accompanied this merchant, Samwise, on an escort mission before. It went fairly poorly, and half his friends ended up dying, the poor merchants. He had to pay us a reduced rate because, well, he owed quite a bit of money to the families of the men who had died. You see, he's a noble fellow who takes care of the people who work under him. And I'm afraid that one of my companions, who's not presently with us, hassled him quite a bit over it and gave him a real hard time. So he ended up paying us more than he could afford rightly at the time. Or at least the venture was a net loss for him. Hopefully he's seeing better times now. He seemed to be quite wily and successful. My intent is just to see how he's doing and perhaps see if he'd be willing to pay us just a small amount to stick close to him during the voyage.
All right, since you know him, you take the lead.
The door on the right is marked employees only, and it looks like it's like the mail service. And then there's the general's opening to the general store to the left.
Oh, that's the general opening. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Gotcha.
the general opening over there.
All right, I'm going to walk up to the door and try the handle.
So to get this straight, you allowed half his friends to die. Then you took his money, and now we're gonna ask him for another job to do the same thing that you just caused half his friends to die for?
Well, I'm afraid it was not at all my fault that his friends were killed. You see, we were surrounded by over a dozen bandits, and they were firing crossbow bolts into the camp and wantonly killing anyone they could. Because of our best efforts, half of them survived, and we managed to chase off the bandits, but I'm afraid there was little we could do to prevent them from being slain by arrows. It was not my intent to hassle that much money out of him, and I did have an extensive conversation with him afterwards, and he accepted my apology, and seemingly was interested in my offer of protection in the future at a reduced rate.
I'm sure this is going to be interesting. We'll lead the way.
You see a stout halfling in commoner's clothes with his sleeves rolled up, furiously writing in a large ledger. You recognize him as Samwise, the merchant that commissioned your party to escort his trade caravan to the city of Twyrif. A mailman is sorting through a large pile of letters and packages behind Sam. There are a lot of fresh vegetables in wooden tubes to the left, dairy and meats straight ahead. You also see a section of the store that has simple weapons, Samwise does not appear to have noticed you.
I'm going to grab a large handful of carrots from one of the cardboard tubes and place them on the counter in front of Samwise. This isn't a bad time, is it?
And Samwise kind of looks up, and for a minute he doesn't recognize you, and then his eyes kind of gleam for a second. Oh, Remishton, Gilmac, welcome back, and two more faces I haven't seen before. Hello. Uh, yes, how are you doing, my friends?
I've been well. I have seen better times, of course. Talking about the city, I mean. I know that things are not good here at present, and there's quite a bit of danger about. I'm glad to see that you're safe, friend. We were thinking about leaving with the caravan in a few days, and we're wondering if you could use some bodyguards that stick close to your men at all times.
Roll me persuasion.
And we don't need a great deal of money. Whatever you're willing to pay is fine by me. I feel like I kind of owe you one because of last time.
Yeah, I am okay, but I would be willing to introduce you to Valdan. He's the leader of the caravan. We might be able to work up some work for you there to escort the refugees, the evacuation caravan. It's not really a paid business. We're not getting any profit from helping these people get to safety. It's more of
That's a valid point.
we're trying
I
to do this to
completely
help
understand.
people. But if you have time for other tasks, I might be able to pay you for. For example, I have a favor to ask you. I need someone to deliver messages to Red Larch. As you can see behind me, you can see like 600 letters behind him. Can you drop off like 400 letters there with the Merchants Guild? There should be a general store in town that you can deliver to. There's a whole family of halfling craftsmen that would be very grateful to me if these letters were delivered soon. They're quite worried about the whole situation going down here. Strange creatures, people getting kidnapped and killed. They're very worried. Some of them might be last wills.
Yes, I'd be quite willing to do so. And I appreciate your offer to introduce us. Now, for the journey to Red Larch, would you be willing to pay us perhaps just 4 gold pieces each for such a journey?
I could pay you, let's see, how many letters? 400. And they paid me about a few silver pieces each. Give you 1 silver each. 400 silver pieces. I can do 400 silver pieces. If you deliver it within, let's say, if you leave with the evacuation caravan, you carry all these letters with you, and you deliver them when the evacuation caravan arrives in Red Larch, those would be the terms and conditions, and when you get back here, I will pay you a total of 400 silver pieces.
Yes, that's quite reasonable of you. Although I thought that the intent was for us to make the journey prior to the caravan. Since we're going anyway,
Yeah.
half that would probably be quite fine.
If you would
But,
like to do that, that's also fine.
Does that mean that you intend to stay here when the caravan leaves with most of the protection?
There are a lot of craftsmen that are staying in town, and I'm the person that has to provide for them. I have responsibilities, so I can't leave, at least not yet.
Really? Well, this makes me think twice about going with that caravan. I had not realized that there were folks staying here.
Yeah, I'm staying here, obviously I would like to go home to my wife and kids in Red Larch, go into my little comfy home, but, this is where I work, and if I leave and my entire business is destroyed, then I won't have anything.
Well, I understand, I suppose, although I am sorry to hear that you'll be staying. These parts are dangerous, after all.
Yeah, you're telling me. I'd much rather have a party of adventurers like yourselves, even though our first journey together wasn't as good. staying in my home, protecting me. That'd be. Did you hear? I heard a rumor that people were abducted in the middle of the night, just grabbed from the streets. Half a dozen guards killed, slaughtered, their heads gone. I mean, I didn't go down to the morgue, but my goodness, it was. I heard the situation is so terrible that the clerics faction, one of the three big ones, the three biggest factions in the entire country, the clerics faction, is sending an inquisitor down here to capture this powerful, evil spellcaster that is controlling these people, or so the rumors go. They'll be here after the 5 days. I don't know when, probably a week. This inquisitor, and those inquisitors are not. They have the power of life and death over spellcasters. They can throw you in jail. They can, maim you, cut off your arms if necessary. They have quite a bit of power with the gods.
Would that be the Arcanist Inquisition I've heard about, or some other inquisitor? Perhaps it's a different name.
The Inquisitor, from what I've heard, the Inquisitor is a branch of the clerics faction that is used to regulate and control magic and spellcasting within the country. So if you're a spellcaster, you got to be careful to stay on their good side, otherwise they could decide that you no longer have a place in this country and imprison you, destroy you, or do many other things.
Well, I fortunately have no such powers. I have nothing to worry about, though I'd rather make a friend than an enemy any day. Well, I hope you stay safe, Sandwise, and I'll be sure to pay you a visit before we leave if we do decide to go with them and take your letters.
Yeah. And one more thing, with the situation going, I don't know much about these strange beasts. I'm a merchant. I enjoy selling things, growing produce, you can see over there tomatoes, potatoes, cabbages, celery. Those are all from my farm. They're fantastic. But one of my dearest friends is a barmaid by the name of Anne, and she works at the Double Down Tavern. Her father lost his leg working as a shipwright a couple years ago. And her father needs a lot of medicinal herbs to manage the pain because only the wealthy and the well-connected can afford the regeneration spell needed to heal a lost limb. And I am the one that provides those herbs. But my stock is running dangerously low because everyone is too afraid to forage for herbs. Are you willing to help?
I must admit, I'm not the best at such things. I lose things frequently, and I have trouble spotting people sneaking up on me. I'm not sure I'll be much good finding the herbs. I can't speak for my companions, however. Ilmac, you have a connection with nature. What do you think?
Yeah, I suppose we could do that for you. I mean, at least I would be willing to help you.
Well, I appreciate that. There's a hidden valley a couple days away from town that has a lot of these herbs. A group of somewhat friendly dryads live there, and he blushes in embarrassment mentioning them. My friend Anne knows the way there. All you need to do is protect her, and she'll bring the herbs back. I consider it a personal favor if you get it done.
How many days is that journey?
2 days by horseback.
My companion, I do possess a horse myself. My companions do not. Would it take, how long, do you think we could be back in 5 days if we were to leave on foot for such a venture?
On foot, I think you could get it there in 3 days and get back in 3. But if you traveled at an increased rate, it's through the forest, so maybe a horse wouldn't be the best measure. I think you can get there on foot in 2 days and 2 days to get back.
Well, thank you. We'll certainly consider it.
Indeed.
And before we leave, I'm going to purchase 10 rations and some carrots for my horse.
Yep, 10 rations, and the carrots are on the house.
Ah, very courteous of you.
one more thing you might be, one more thing you might want to know is that I've heard that the aristocratic faction, one of the three biggest factions in our country, is sending a military overseer to run the city of Twyrif to replace the former lord. May he rest in peace, because he was killed. Or at least that's the rumors, what the rumors say. His body was never recovered, but I'm pretty sure he's dead. If you're planning on leaving the city, the military overseer is probably going to bring with him quite a bit of soldiers, and they're probably going to deal with the situation. So, my store will be open for business if you need it. And it will be staying here.
You've got it.
All right.
So, even before anyone said something about the carrots being on the house, Mortimer's grabbing one and just chomping down on it.
All right.
Thank you for your news. We appreciate the information. It is great to have a friend in this town.
All right, anyway, it's goodbye. And party navigator, where would you like to go now? Feel free to discuss.
Where do you think we can find Anne?
He'll pocket 2 more carrots before leaving.
All right.
Where do you say we can find Anne?
The Double Down Tavern. He said you could find Anne at the Double Down Tavern.
She's the barmaid at the tavern we're going to anyway. I intend to spend the evening there because, well, we might meet the person in charge of the caravan. But what are you thinking anyway? Has this changed your minds and now you want to stay here, or are you still happy to go with the merchants? I still think they'll need protection on the road.
Like I said, I would rather. I was always leaning towards kind of staying because, like I said, we're probably going to end up confronting this chaotic whatever it is, either here or on the road. And I think if we want to try to rid the world of this thing, then perhaps staying, now knowing that others are staying as well, might be the best option, at least in my eyes.
I think perhaps you overestimate our skill level. But I'll tell you more about that. First, whoever's about to speak, go ahead.
I was just saying I agree.
Righteous. You see, I'm not sure, you probably haven't heard the story that I have, but an elite team working for the government already did go on a mission to destroy these creatures. I'm not sure of their exact credentials, but some voice from above told me that they were an order of magnitude stronger than we were. Perhaps it is some sense of the divine or something. Somehow I'm quite certain that this force that was killed was, well... road we might encounter bandits, or there is a chance of the creatures. Here it is a nigh certainty. There is an army on the way here of paladins and people who are, no doubt, much greater in Cabo than us. I highly doubt that our lowly selves will be capable of stopping these creatures, and even if we were able to, I think that those paladins will be, they will be the ones to do this job, not us. On the road, last time we were here, bandits attacked, and they didn't make off with quite the haul they were hoping. In fact, they made off with nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if they're taking advantage of this and, well, trying it again. If we're not there, an ill fate might befall these folks. And this might be a chance to capture their leader. A great group of refugees is no doubt a juicy target.
No choice. There are plenty of people, I guess, here, staying here. And knowing that there's a group of paladins on their way, I mean, if you think that this fight that is going to confront the city is so grave, then perhaps they may even need help. Maybe we can help them.
But you can't protect an entire town by yourself. You see, the problem with the town, it's not like an attack on the road where everyone's in one place. These attacks happen in the dead of night. These creatures attack from nowhere, and I highly doubt that they would confront a group of armed men when there are people alone in their homes to attack, perhaps busting through windows or attacking a lone person walking on the street. I'm not sure we can do much good to protect an entire city.
Maybe we stay up one night and see if anything happens. Maybe not confront it head on, but maybe we can gain some evidence for what's going on if we do stay up overnight.
Or become evidence. I believe that Samwise said there were bodies in the morgue. Perhaps we could become such bodies if we go out at night, attempting to lure the creatures to us.
This town is fairly large. From my wandering the streets, I don't feel like, even if we did stay up, that the odds of us actually running into the creatures is not statistically relevant. We could waste an entire night of not sleeping and not see anything. But then hear screaming in the night, if you want to be a witness to that sort of thing.
There's a rational man.
Continue to talk to people and see what's going on.
I am curious about these bodies in the morgue, though.
Mortimer, you wouldn't so happen to be a practitioner of the magical arts, would you?
I've dabbled here and there. My job was to scribe the arcane arts onto parchments for individuals to attempt to utilize on their behest.
This is a question I previously asked another one of our companions, though they are not currently present. You wouldn't happen to possess the ability to speak with the recently deceased?
Unfortunately not. Oh, what stories they would tell if I did.
Unfortunate. Thus, it seems unlikely the morgue will render to us any information, any information that we could actively use to either impede our enemies or help our allies. However, I do believe it would be a worthwhile course of investigation to find out how exactly these creatures can continue to enter and leave the town. Well, not only enter, but also leave with bodies, presumably more bodies than the number of creatures, given that they massacre, like they massacre in droves without being seen. In fact, it might be a worthwhile course of action to assume that these creatures haven't left. That each and every attack has been done by the same creatures that first entered the city or burst from the chests of those that were infected, and they have simply found somewhere to hide within their city walls. If so, we would be doing a great service if we could find, even if we did not engage and report the location of these creatures, so that those, as you say, those who are better equipped would not only know where they are, they would know their modus operandi, and they would know where to strike to finish them, rather than simply scattering them as a concentrated defense might.
That seemed like a very large word for an individual rocking such heavy armor. But I agree.
I have some ideas. I'll have to get back to you, though, to see how plausible they are.
Either way, I'm feeling a bit awkward standing outside Samwaz's shop. You guys want to go somewhere else? Perhaps the tavern, or any other ideas, Gilmac? Where should we head?
Was there somebody there we could speak to?
Yes, at the tavern there's the... Wait, were you speaking of the tavern? I didn't quite catch the beginning of it.
Someone with the Thieves Guild.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's where we were originally going to head.
That is correct.
I believe you wanted to ask them about, or perhaps Nicholas did, about, well, any knowledge about the creatures.
Not
Do you still
specifically
wish to do
about
such a
them.
thing?
Yes. It was said that they were the first on the scene when they arrived to loot the Lord's Manor after it had been attacked. I believe that I have what's the word? An idea, a theory. Given that the Lord was so well defended, it is unlikely that those creatures were able to get in and out without being at least partially wounded. Now, given that their blood is highly acidic, it might be possible to follow a trail of corrosion if you were looking for it from the site of the battle to wheresoever it is that they're staying, if they are staying within the city.
An excellent point. Go ahead.
Sorry, continue. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
However, it would be worth conversing with the people that were there on the scene for first and foremost for anything they might have noticed, given that they are it is in their best interest to be as observant as possible, especially when committing crime. All right, that's it.
All right, Gilmac, where are we going?
It's over to the Thieves Guild, eh?
All right.
Yeah.
I'd like to use my background. But I should be able to know somebody that's from the Thieves Guild now.
Yes. So you have a criminal contact background because you are a criminal. Would you like to know what kind of person would you like to know?
Well, what kind of thing do we need specifically from the Thieves Guild?
Information.
Well, what kind of information?
What we need is that, like, if any area of the Lord's Manor was particularly more destroyed than another when they arrived due to the battle that had taken place, since they would know before the cleanups of effect had started, we would then know what main area the fighting was hardest. We could then, from there, attempt to trace the trail of corrosion due to their blood, since a lot of their blood would have been spilled in that area, to wherever it is that they were going. Like, within reason. I'm not too sure how quickly these things heal, but they can't just be gushing blood everywhere, otherwise they'd die. Well, actually, I'm not too sure. They might as well be completely alien. Maybe they don't need blood. Maybe the blood serves just as a weapon. But it's an idea.
All right, yeah. I'm just gonna look for people within the organization that would know a large amount of people and would be keeping up with current events.
All right. So someone that would know a lot of people. Imagine your background right now. Do you want to reveal what kind of criminal you are?
Yeah, I'm a fence. I buy stolen items and sell them.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that you know a criminal contact who usually sells a lot of stolen goods to you. We're going to say his name is roll me 1d20 to see how successful you are.
Oh, God.
Actually, I'm going to let you use your skills. Go ahead and pick a skill. Persuasion, deception. You can go ahead and use a social skill to get kind of outline what kind of contact you'd be able to secure.
We'll use the deception.
So yeah, one day, a long time ago, several years ago, you were holding yourself up as a very successful businessman, able to plunder and just offload a ton of product. And you saw that way back in the day, there was this 21. There was this high elf. His name was Erebus, and he offloaded a ton of product for you. He stole a ton of foodstuffs, iron ore, ignates. He stole a lot of trade goods, and so he is your contact in the Thieves Guild. And as you're kind of walking toward the Thieves Guild, which is down there by the well, that's where they usually operate, and then they own those 4 buildings in this area. You can see there's a bit of a gathering down there. That would be the person. Erebus would be the person that you normally talk with, the person that normally sells you stuff for you to sell. And you can kind of pick the city in which you sell. If you want to sell here in Twyrif, or you want to sell in a different place, you can do that. I'm going to say that you've known Erebus for approximately 3 years. You have a good relationship, but a cautious one, because you're very deceptive, and so is he. But it's a mutual gain kind of situation where you might not trust each other, but you still work with each other.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna stroll up, mask on, obviously.
Yeah, and they're gonna all look at you. They recognize you, so they're not on guard.
Good evening, everybody. Erebus, I was just looking for you. I'm in the market for some information.
Yeah, what kind of information are you looking for?
My friends here are the ones in particular looking for the information. I'm just helping bridge the gap, as it were.
And so I'm currently on my horse, and I'm walking at like a walking pace, just beside my companions. As I walk around the corner on the horse, I no doubt recognize Chad here at least. My eyes widen, and I point at him. You!
Me, he says, mockingly.
Well, it seems we've met before. Just what were you thinking, killing all those men? You know they probably would have given you their gold if you just told them to surrender.
Well, look who it is. The dumb rock returns. What do you want?
It seems that we're on the same side in this moment. But I was just curious, just what exactly you were thinking, killing those people.
Oh, killing them? Well, what's the official story here, Erebus? And Erebus goes to Chad. He's shaking her head. He's shaking his head. Chad, look. The official story is that the other criminals forced us into a life of crime. Alas, they volunteered to lure the horrifying beasts away from town. I think they died. I'm not too sure. But I know we won't be seeing them again. May they rest in peace. Their group bows their head for a second in sadness. Anyway, it doesn't matter anymore. I know what you think happened, but what can you actually prove? With the city,
I can't prove anything.
With the city so desperate for money and protection, I went ahead and pleaded guilty to attempted theft of a wagon. I paid a fine, and they let me go. It's a win-win for everybody. The city gets money that they desperately need, and I get a chance to be a lawful citizen again. And everyone in this little area starts laughing, bursts into laughter.
I nod and say, "Well, I'm not too different myself. I have a shady past as well, and now I'm a law-abiding citizen too. I was not speaking of evidence or the law. I was just asking man to man. What was the point of killing those farmers and tradesmen?"
Like I said, I can't speak to that anymore. I'm an upstanding citizen now. I recently invested money into legitimate businesses like, protection services. I even bought myself a nice tavern. So,
Very well. Just, I'm gonna nod to my companions. Keep in mind, this fella here is a murderer. He's a cold-blooded killer. You should know.
like I said, they forced me into a life of crime. He's kind of grinning at the other people, and they're rolling their eyes.
That's all Ramesh is gonna say. I'm gonna let the others do the talking at this point.
Anyway, my name's Erebus. Now that we've been properly introduced, that's Chad over there. He points over at Chad. Look, don't get on the wrong side of us, and we won't get on the wrong side of you. And next time, just surrender. Pay 50% of what you got on you. We'll let you go.
You didn't give us the chance. I told them to surrender, but you kept killing them.
Look, I was forced to do that. But we'll think about it next time. In those kind of situations, it'd be difficult if there were witnesses. That'd be proof, evidence. If this kind of disaster, and this disaster is terrible, if this kind of opportunity didn't happen, then I wouldn't have a chance to be a lawful citizen again. Do you know how much I had to pay? It was a lot.
Yeah, I believe it. No hard feelings, anyhow. I'd rather make a friend than an enemy. And I'm not gonna, try to fight you or anything if I run into you in a dark alley.
Well, come on over then. Come down here and join us. And do you have any other friends back there? Come on over.
Yeah. I'll stay back here on my horse just to make sure you don't try to steal it back or anything. But Dilmac, Mortimer, you can come by. I trust these people won't trouble us.
Now, there's no point in stealing from you right now. Why would we steal from a few people that know how to handle themselves? I've known Tobias here for 3 years, and he can handle himself. It'd be hard taking money from you. But these merchants...
Is this true, Tobias?
I'm not going to dispute the claim.
Yeah,
well,
these merchants are paying us hand over fist for protection services. As soon as we told them that, we discovered the Lord's mansion when it was attacked, we were the first ones there. Unfortunately, it was looted, right? I don't know how that happened. But we were really strong. We have some new magical items. And, there's a high demand in town. In fact, where is Octavius? I heard from a friend of a friend on the City Watch, the kind of friend that you pay things and they give you stuff, that your party here extracted rare magical secrets from the necromancer when you cornered her in that tomb, the tomb of the paladin. It must have been a valuable bribe for you to let her go. You have the golden goose in your hands. I have friends in the city of Onabire, large city to the northeast, that would pay top dollar for that information. Let me have it, and I can give you 70% of the profits. It must have been a hefty bribe.
I'm gonna hop down from the horse at this point, patting it on the flank, and say, well, I guess I trust you as far as I'll shake a stick at you. I guess you got a point. No reason to rob us here. I'm going to keep my hand on my coin purse as I walk forward. I'm going to say, I'd love to help you out there. That's a very kindly deal you've offered us. But I'm afraid Octavius is the one who's leading the case. And he's a friend, so I'm not going to go spilling his information without him here.
Just think about it. 70%. I don't know what kind of bribe they offered you. Did they give you a magical tomb? Maybe a book of all the spells that the necromancer had?
Nothing of the sort, but I like to think that I left on good terms with him.
Well, you better be careful. The Inquisitor isn't going to be happy if they catch you with that tomb of dark magic, especially with all the rumors going around. Sure, they'll pay you a visit. I could throw them off the scent for a fee.
I'll tap Fresh Mitten on the shoulder. I'll slowly shake my head. I'll be like, the longer you talk to him, the more you give away for free.
I've given
and we
away
have no
nothing.
reason to trust him. Are you sure?
Besides, he's offering us valuable information himself. He seems like a friendly enough sort in this context. Tobias, if you know him, why don't you lead the investigation here?
Yeah, go ahead, Tobias. Lead the investigation. What are you investigating, my friend?
We've gotten sidetracked. Is Tobias gonna talk, or should
Yeah,
I?
I'm sorry. There was people yelling outside my door. I couldn't hear everything that y'all were saying. I apologize.
Alright, no, that's a problem.
Long story short, can you
Since
give us
Tobias,
can you give him a short summary of what happened?
What happened with what?
Chad and Resh. Alright, Chad is a bandit that Reshman encountered on the road, and they attacked a caravan of merchants that was coming in. Reshman called for the merchants to surrender so as to save their lives. Chad what's the word? Allegedly, commanded his bandits to kill everyone and leave no survivors as witnesses. Rashmington took a bit of offense to that, but it seems that he's gotten over it. They had a bit of verbal sparring just now, a little back and forth, and then Chad offered to fence the information, the black book essentially that we had gotten from the necromancer
Erebus
that we fought
did.
in the previous.
Erebus
Yeah.
offered. And then
Erebus offered to basically fence the information from the black book, and we would be allowed to get 70% of the proceeds from that endeavor. In exchange for the 70% and the selling, she would also attempt to throw the Inquisitor that is going to be visiting the city off the trail of that we had left, following the rumors that we had a book of a black book, per se. So we haven't yet gotten to the information we were trying to purchase originally, but we are learning something about this criminal underground. At least I am.
I'm gonna insight check Erebus on that one, because that's
you can't even see
rather
Erebus right now, so you gotta step into the crowd if you want to do that.
Wait, what?
Is that Tobias talking or Mortimer's player?
Yeah, no, I'm Tobias.
Oh,
Mortimer
okay.
is the one that's all the way back there.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Roll me insight.
Also, something that came up in the conversation briefly is that the horse which Ramesh has been leading around was taken from the bandits during the attack before.
Okay. Now, he might be deceiving you. He might not be. I'm just rolling that just to throw you off the scent. Yeah, you can tell that Erebus, there's that sense of genuineness, that kind of earnestness that you would expect from a criminal that doesn't have anything to hide because they don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good to me. It's rather a generous offer, but I've never been one to turn down generosity.
Yeah. It's not really generous. I get 30%. 30% of a big amount is good, and all I do is sell some stuff off, pass on the information. It's a win-win for both of us.
It's generous, Tobias, but I'm afraid you're not the one who possesses the book. It's my friend Octavius, who's not here. And I'm letting him decide what we do with that. He has quite a personal stake in it, you see?
Indeed.
And so I'd ask you to let the past stay in the past and get what we came for and get out. For now, at least.
What are you looking for?
Sentiment.
Erebus calls out.
I'll close the distance between me and Erebus. I'll speak out. We have our sources that said, well, you loudly proclaimed that your forces, the forces of the Thieves Guild, were the first on the scene after the Lord's Manor was ransacked. Am I to assume that this is correct?
Allegedly.
Allegedly, of course. No accusations here. Um, all we need of you is for you to point out which area of the manor seems most disturbed, most ransacked after the fact of the violence. And before the restoration and cleanup had begun. I have a little theory I'm looking to test about a method of tracking the monsters, the creatures that caused this destruction. My motives for doing so are my own, of course. All I require of you is a description, a location, something to set me on the right track. I am perfectly willing to make it worth your while.
So you want a physical description of the Lord of Twyrif's manor before it was looted and before any of the scene was disturbed. Yeah, I think I can help you with that. It'll cost you... this is Nicholas, right?
Yes.
It'll cost you 25 gold pieces.
25 gold pieces. I don't have experience with the buying and selling of information, so I don't think any investigation or intelligence check I could do to see if she's trying to rip me off. But I'll turn and look at Tobias real quick. I want to see, is this the going rate? Am I being ripped off here?
Is there like a kind of a check that I can make to tell that?
Yeah, give me insight or history. Actually, history would be probably more perceptive, but insight or history. If you're doing history, you're trying to remember all the other times you've purchased information. If you're doing insight, you're trying to tell if Erebus is trying to make a move on you. If he is being excessively greedy, or if he's being, exploitative, or if there's a bit of nervousness in her voice, or if, something like that. You're looking for a physical tell.
I might be better at the insight, but the thought of going back in my own memory bank sounds more interesting in the current moment.
Okay. So yeah, looking through your memory, you can recall that this is a bit high. The usual rate's about 10 gold pieces.
Now, it's a little high, but I don't have a doubt that you're going to be paying for top quality service. Premium service equals premium price.
I'll choose to indulge that. I will flick a wrist, causing a pouch of gold to appear, and I'll hand over 25 gold pieces. Make this worth my while.
Alright, she takes the 25 gold pieces. Thank you both. Yep, so I can tell you that the main entrance of the manor was burst open from the outside as if a large beast, large as a horse, had just battered its way through. There were acidic burns all over. It looks like there were a few fireball and firebolt scorch marks on the grass, just dotting the yard, approaching the door. We saw some blood. Looks like one of them, there was a wizard. The body was recovered. We saw it. The guards aren't actually. The guards are saying that no survivors and no bodies were recovered. There was a body recovered. The wizard was just mutilated. Like, head was taken off, legs were maimed, chest completely gored. So they didn't want to reveal that. They're trying to keep it a secret. As for when you get back into the mansion, the manor, door burst open. You go in. There were blood trail marks leading out of the house from the door. It goes all the way up, and you see the one thing. I mean, we looked through the entire. Allegedly, we looked through the entire manor, the mansion. foodstuffs, magic items, weapons. They had all of it. The Lord's door, we discovered, his private room, that was also, the door was busted open and something was dragged out of there. So, my personal opinion, the Lord was taken from his private chambers. All of his guards were taken. The wizard put up a fight and they killed him. And I don't know what happened, but the beasts took him to the northwest. Those associates of ours that lured the beasts away, they lured the beasts away so we could take a look at the manor, allegedly.
Allegedly.
And we found many great things.
Thank you. I trust that you did. This is excellent. More than I had hoped for, the truth. Cheers to the start of a long and fruitful business relationship. And I'll begin to walk away, as that was all the information I needed.
Before you go, consider this. You should work for me instead of begging aristocrats and merchants for jobs. We actually find treasure. We make money. Those pricks will keep all the good stuff and leave you with a title that has no value. You should work for me instead.
That may be so, but also, you've probably heard well about it, but you know that there is an Inquisitor and an army of paladins on the way, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't concern you at all.
Well, as you can clearly see, I've gotten very rich and powerful of late. She kind of shows an item that she has, hidden beneath her faded blue traveling clothes that she's wearing. And you can see that it's a magical amulet. This here, I got from evading the authorities. I'm pretty sure that this overseer, this Inquisitor, is gonna have a hard time finding me. That's for sure.
Very good. Well, I admit I'm pretty ambivalent when it comes to who I take employment from. If you have a job that needs doing, so long as it doesn't involve robbing or killing anyone unlawfully, I would be happy to accept.
Okay. A little birdie told me that a team of level 1 adventurers wants to track down these strange beasts and save the town. They are hopeful and courageous and naive. The perfect combination if you want to die early. What do you think?
You want us to save them? What's the idea here?
No. We don't want you to. We don't need you to do anything. No. It was just a funny story that someone told me.
I appreciate the story. That could have been us, I have to admit.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead. I was just saying that sounds like something we could have done, or we could still do.
All right. I'm going to real quick, just going to point out Keen Mind. I have the skill Keen Mind. I can actually accurately recall anything I've seen or heard. I'm going to memorize the physical what that amulet that you showed me looks like. I just want to remember that, like, perfect, like in detail. Should I need to later, just to be careful.
Yep, sounds good. You don't need to tell me. Just write it down on your backstory. That's a talent of yours, so it's a hidden ace that you have. Everyone gets 800 experience points from kind of exploring the town a bit, which is exploration, and also from social interactions so far.
On top of the XP that was given earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
And when you guys are ready, Party Navigator, tell me where you go.
Well, I'd like to know, so I was listening to all that, and I don't understand that some of the people from the Thieves Guild drew away some of the attackers from the Lord's Manor.
Yes, that sounds right. That's what I thought.
Indeed. It seems that some of them were used as bait so that the Thieves Guild could slip in undetected and take whatsoever they chose.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to understand maybe the motive there. Thank you.
Did he mention if those individuals survived the distraction, or were they just literally bait?
They were butchered. At least they implied that they were butchered by
Okay.
the may they rest in peace. I
All
mean,
right.
I know where I want to go. Anyone else have any other ideas though?
Well, let's talk about it. What are the ideas?
Well, given that we now know what direction they were drawn in, at least in relation to the Lord's Manor, we could quite easily follow any trail in order to, I don't potentially this to find this these creatures once again, whether or not they're acting independently of the necromancer we previously saw. That might be exceedingly dangerous to do though. So I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure how exactly we can progress otherwise though.
We could go and try to speak with Anne and see if we could go along with her to find some of the herbs that Samwise asked us to do as well.
Yes, if we do that,
Yeah.
we'd want to leave probably promptly today, and that way we'd be back by the time of the caravan's leaving, and we'd be safe if anything bad happens in town. I see nothing to lose there.
That's true. That's true. What direction did Samwise say that the veil with the druids was again from the city?
I don't know, but I do know that that barmaid will know, and she'll be going with us as well. I think.
Sorry.
Right,
I meant
indeed.
I was asking the DM as I was
Oh,
trying to recall what direction it was that he said. Because if we are going to be heading in the same direction at northwest, then it might be prudent to inform this barmaid that you should not go there.
Yep,
As
you do
we
not know
will.
the direction to the herbs.
Oh, Samwise didn't tell us.
Sam, I told you
Yeah.
that Anne would know the way.
Okay then.
I
Then
think.
yes, it would be best to
Well, I
talk to
think we should
Anne.
definitely go talk to her and see if, if she's even willing to go right now.
Understandable sentiments. I will follow your lead.
All right. So you've chosen to go to the tavern, Double Down Tavern. I will go ahead and pull your characters to the thing.
And then do we want to take a break before we start this encounter?
Yes, and you get inspiration for that. Thank you. But let's take a short break.
I gift that
Alright.
to